Testing, testing, testing.
Scientists with the Yale School of Public Health and University of Maryland have estimated that the COVID vaccine saved 3 million lives and prevented 18 million hospitalizations. President Trump, someone who I do not often agree with, has said that the COVID vaccine was, quote,
Testing, testing, testing. Oh, snap. We are live. Huh. Okay. Sorry, a little bit rusty here. I did not think we were live yet, but we are. So I used to stream like this all the time, but it's been years. Anyhow, want to talk more about the big RFK Jr. news today and where it fits in with Bernie Sanders, who was recently grilling RFK Jr. when he was being taken through the confirmation process to become the Secretary of Health. And then, in light of what Bernie's going to say, I just want to remind about something that used to not happen, but has become very common in the year of, or in the time of mass vacuums, if you will. If you don't know what vacuum is, it's a word that's acceptable on this platform, has a very similar spelling to that other thing that a lot of people are made to get if they wanted to go to work or to school or go inside of a sports game. Just a handful of years back, it's another VAC word. But you might recall back in 2016 when the beloved Bernie baby just killed over from SIDS. Yeah, we'll put it all together here in just a moment. But yeah, this thing with RFK Jr., I think it all but confirms what truly is behind the cause of the massive rise in autism. And again, it's not a secret what it is. 2012, there were thousands of stories about it on YouTube, and then Google mass deleted all of them. Same story told by countless parents, and it wasn't a story just exclusive to the internet. Like I said, I used to work in a children's home managing autistic children, and the children that lived in that home that still had contact with their parents, all the parents had the same story. It happened at about age 2 when they got that 3-letter pokey doke, that vacuum, and then all of a sudden their children's lives really sucked. And I think that is probably why vacuum is an appropriate replacement word. But anyway, again, you guys, it's such a joke what they do to us, and they just get away with this occult ritual day after day after day. Again, it's Wednesday. RFK Jr. holds his first press conference on a Wednesday, and we'll get to why this Wednesday, and makes this announcement about autism. So here, let's just put it together logically. Again, if you're new here, Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, comes from Kabbalah. There's 4 base ciphers of the English language. I learned about this in the 1926 book by Manly P. Hall, The Secret Teachings of All Ages. The 4 base ciphers, the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. You learn these 4 systems. You see how the federal government, the news media, a whole lot more operate by this code every day. You see the emphasized phrase, RFK Jr. contradicts experts by linking autism rise to environmental toxins. And again, environmental toxins, not by chance, has a Gematria value of 106. And today is April 16th. It is the 106th day of the year. And then the other piece is this administration took office on January 20th, which means today is 86 days later. It's 86 days later today. And Wednesday is named after Mercury again. And the Gematria value of Mercury is 86. And of course, Mercury is a common ingredient in vacuums. And it is also an environmental toxin. It's why they tell pregnant women not to consume big fish because their bodies are full of mercury. Mercury is polluting every surface of the earth. And the bigger fish eat up the smaller fish that are full of mercury, and it makes them have a massive amount of mercury in their bodies, which can be toxic to the little babies inside the pregnant mothers. This is why this is health advice. So just think about these logical connections. Mercury is a persistent toxic pollutant that accumulates in the environment, posing risks to human and wildlife health. It is released into the environment through both natural sources like volcanoes and human activities like burning fossil fuels. Once in the environment, mercury can transform into methylmercury, a highly toxic form that bioaccumulates in fish and other aquatic organisms. This leads to mercury contamination in the food chain, posing a significant health concern, particularly for those who consume large amounts of contaminated fish. Again, it's known knowledge. It's been this way for decades that pregnant women should be very careful about what seafood they're consuming. Just think about it. And then these same pregnant women, when their babies pop out, you got a bunch of doctors there saying, now we want to put this little vacuum in your child and this little vacuum here and this vacuum as well. Again, it's not a big enough sample to prove anything, but at the same time, it's also an example to think about. On this block that I live in, of course, I had a child born exactly 5 months ago today. Just before that, child across the street was born a couple months earlier. And just before that, another child was born about 6 months earlier. Those two children got a lot of vacuums, and one of the parents regrets giving their children the vacuums. I'm not sure about the other one. They don't talk as much. But this past winter, by the way, my child didn't get any vacuums. This past winter, 2 out of the 3 babies got COVID. And actually, one of the babies just recently got RSV as well. So one of the babies has now gone through 2 things. You know which baby didn't get it? The one that had no vacuums in it, my child. And again, I'll also just point out in my own family, I warned all of my own family why they should not participate in the pokey-dokes during the time of the scandemic. The only person in my family who didn't listen to me was my sister, and she's been having a bunch of health problems, and she's constantly sick. I've lost count of how many episodes of the flu in the last 5 years. She's averaging, I'd say, at least 2 flus a year and one every summer since she got it. And whoever got flu in the summer before. And my neighbors right next door, they said they got the pokey dokes at the time because they were living in Eugene and wanted to go to the Oregon Ducks games. And how many people got these things? But they said they highly regret it because they both got very sick with COVID shortly after getting the shots. And now both of them have heart issues. A lot of stories like that. Safe and effective, they say. But yeah, again, it's a reminder. It's a reminder that Donald Trump, when he declared Operation Warp Speed, he did it on May 15th, which is Mercuralia, the day to celebrate Mercury. And it's a reminder that 2 years before he declared Operation Warp Speed, it was May 15th, 2018. That was the day of Clade X, the first Cooties simulation. Its sister simulation was Event 201 on October 18th, 2019. And that was the day the military world games began in Wuhan, China, 1 month before the outbreak. Again, those are 2 related simulations, sister simulations. But the first one, Clade X, was 666 days before the scandemic was declared on March 11th, 2020. And 666 is, of course, the number associated with the mark, which you must have if you want to buy or sell. In Sumerian Gematria, VACCINATION equates to 666. That's just taking the alphabetic order and multiplying by 6. But again, really just think about all these things. And then imagine being the person who would say all this is a coincidence. Environmental toxins on the 106th day of the year, his first press conference, 86 days after the administration takes office. I already know what the critical thinking troll would say. They'd say, "Well, RFK Jr. wasn't sworn in yet, though, on January 20th." Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Again, his whole confirmation began on the day of the Year of the Snake. If you missed all my work on that, you should go back and check it out. Year of the Snake equals 72, like RFK Jr., like how he put out the video last summer on July 2nd about titled RFK Jr. the Snake, and 72. Isn't that the vacuum schedule now? By the time you're 18 years old, the CDC recommends that you get 72 vacuums. You know, my parents' generation, people born 70 years ago, they got what, like 5 vacuums? Maybe not even that, 3, 4. My generation got about somewhere between 10 and 15. Now it's up to 72, a Kabbalistic number, 72 names of God in Kabbalah, 72 demons in the Goetia. Again, big number with the Jesuits. RFK Jr., Jesuit educated, just like Trump. Don't forget that RFK Jr. had his anti-mandate rally on Georgetown's birthday when he's a Georgetown prep grad. Again, it is the Jesuits behind all this. They gave us the language and the calendar, and they're big in the medical world. And again, it was the Jesuit Klaus Schwab who put on Event 201 with his co-host Bill and Melinda Gates. Melinda Gates comes from a family of Jesuit priests, and again has the same birthday as the Jesuits, August 15th, and now she really sells her middle name, French, Melinda French Gates, now that she's single. Of course, the Jesuits are from France. But, yeah, I mean, they're telling us without telling us what the cause is. And what's sickening is listening to these talking heads on, cable news go, oh, the only reason that autism rates are so high these days is because now we actually know what it is and we recognize it and we diagnose it as that. In the past, people are literally coming on and going, in the past, it just was, less understood, less noticed. Like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. My parents' generation never heard of a autistic child. It would never heard of, just like nobody ever heard of peanut allergies, even when I was a child, which wasn't all that long ago. Where'd all these things come from? How come so many more children are dying from cancer and SIDS and have all these disorders? I thought we're getting scientifically advanced. Seemingly, with the advancements, there's just more and more problems and less answers. And more censorship as well, because if you start to do research and connect dots, then you get called the bad guy and you get deleted and you get your works banned and you get your money cut off. And it seems like that's really what motivates these people to go on the TV and say the crap they do. Oh yeah, no. The only reason the autism rate's so high now is because we recognize it. We know what it is. Oh, yeah. I mean, like, who's buying this? But then you'll watch. Just watch as this becomes the propaganda that they just have all these talking heads going on the TV saying now. Just wait. Your next family gathering at Thanksgiving, then somebody tell, oh yeah, really the reason that the autism seems so common is just because we understand it now. Oh, weird. But yeah, here let's play this clip here of Bernie, and let me know if we don't have an echo. I hope we don't have an echo. I'm trying to get all the audio corrected here with the new setup. Let's listen to Bernie. Here's Bernie fighting oligarchy. Listen to him right here, laying it into RFK Jr. Here we go.
Scientists with the Yale School of Public Health and University of Maryland have estimated that the COVID vaccine saved 3 million lives and prevented 18 million hospitalizations. President Trump, someone who I do not often agree with, has said that the COVID vaccine was, quote, one of the greatest miracles of the ages. That's Donald Trump. But Bobby, you had a very different perspective. At a time when thousands of Americans were dying from COVID every week in May of 2021, you petitioned the Food and Drug Administration to revoke the emergency use of COVID vaccines. So my question to you is, were the scientists who told us that the COVID vaccine was imperative and President Trump who told us that it was this great thing, were they right or were you right when you told people that they should not take COVID shots?
Senator, I filed that lawsuit after CDC recommended the vaccine for 6-year-old children. without any evidence that it would benefit them and without testing on 6-year-old children. And that was my reason for filing that lawsuit.
Was the COVID vaccine, successful in saving millions of lives?
I don't know. We don't have a good surveillance system, unfortunately.
We don't know?
I don't think anybody can say that. If you
Well,
show me
but-
science that says
But,
that.
you know, Bobby, you say, if I show you, you're applying for the job. I mean, clearly, you should know this. And that is, the scientific community has established that COVID vaccines save millions of lives, and you're casting doubt. That is really problematic.
What's problematic is anybody saying what Bernie Sanders just said, because it flies in the face of reality. And if you don't know that, you are a brainwashed human being, point blank, period. Again, there's zero evidence that the vacuum did anything other than damage. And I just want to remind about this ritual from 2016. I remember my mom at the time was the biggest Bernie Sanders supporter. And she was just getting so annoyed with me that I was showing her this at the time. She thought, no way. Now she totally accepts it. But now she's totally in love with RFK Jr., and he can do no wrong. But again, if you remember, Bernie Baby was this viral sensation. They showed him a lot in the news. He was all over social media. He was this darling Bernie Baby. Bernie Sanders' biggest supporter. And then all of a sudden, the tragedy came. 170 days after Bernie's birthday. And what else is I always found funny about Bernie and my mom is they both have the September 8th birthday. He's 11 years older than my mom, though. But from Bernie's birthday to the baby's death was 170 days later on the nose. And of course, in Gematria, sacrifice is 170. We've seen that one many a times. If King Richard's out there in the chat, he was just talking about a recent celebrity death with the big 170 ritual. There's so many, I can't even keep them all straight. It was just days ago. But we talked about this 170 number in sacrifice so many times. And look at what day the child died too, you know? The 56th day of the year, the 56th. Again, if you're new here, very special number. Washington, D.C. equals 56, as does Society of Jesus, which is the Jesuits who brought the capital to D.C. And, you know, with regards to the Pokey-dokes, let me see if the chat can help me out. Shout out to King Richard. I do see him in the chat. For the people in the chat, give me your favorite 56 rituals that you remember from the time of the scandemic. I mean, I could shoot off 20 off the top of my head, but I just want to see if the chat has it tonight. Just everybody, throw out the first 56 that hit your mind when it comes to the scandemic, because there's so many. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. I mean, there were infinite 56 rituals, but 56 was the number that defined the scandemic. And if you guys don't know, I have a book. You can look it up. It's called Number Games by Zachary K. Hubbard. And there's a long list of the 56s in there. But understand, I got that book out in mid-2020, warning people what was coming with the Pokey-dokes, warning people why the scandemic would last until the year of the tiger came around. Both things I was absolutely 1,000,000% correct about. And even then, there was already a mile-long list of 56 rituals, but in the year and a half, 2 years after, there became a million more. And I shouldn't just say a year and a half, 2 years after. Even to this day, they finally admitted to the Wuhan lab leak theory 56 months after the scandemic was declared. Yeah, Rick James, Gavin, of course, Gavin Newsom's popular one, Maggie Keenan. For people who don't know, Gavin Newsom was the first governor to lock down his state. And go back and look at his written transcript of what he said when he locked down the state. He said, I'm locking down California because 56% of you will get the virus in 8 weeks, which is 56 days. And of course, CORONAVIRUS, the name of the thing, equals 56. Just like the name of the jab for it equals 56. Just like Gavin Newsom equals 56. Don't forget that Trump, the whole scandemic, was 56 years after his Jesuit education began at Fordham in 64. Cuomo, who also went to Fordham, was the 56th governor of New York at the time. Anthony Fauci equals 56. Remember, they started calling it the Fauci ouchie when you got your poke. Fauci ouchie 56. A gazillion more. Yeah, Regeneron, absolutely. Yeah. Boris Johnson, 56 years old. His 56-page plan, exactly. King Richard's got a good memory. There were a lot of 56 rituals. Right, toilet paper equals 56. One of the best of all. Mind control equals 56, like toilet paper. Just playing with the populace, feeding them literally shit, like you wipe your ass with toilet paper, feeding us shit and telling us Cooties is going to sell out the toilet paper, so you better go have a WrestleMania at your local Walmart over the last roll. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Yeah, All Seeing Eye is another 56. Yeah, Tom Hanks, born in 56. Tom Hanks shooting the Elvis movie at the time that he became the first celebrity with the virus. And remember, Elvis in 56 on Jonas Salk's birthday, which was also Bill Gates' first birthday. It was Jonas Salk's 42nd birthday. Remember, vaccine alone equals 42. Bill Gates operates out of Washington State, the 42nd state, across the street from the world's biggest needle. But again, on Jonas Salk's 42nd birthday, Bill Gates' first birthday, Elvis got the polio vaccine on live TV. That was when they restarted up the polio vaccine because the first time they introduced it, they had to stop it because it was killing people. And don't forget where the polio vaccine debuted at Arsenal Elementary School. Arsenal, like a cache of weapons, reminding you that the military was behind Operation Warp Speed. And what do militaries do again? Were militaries invented to help with medicine or to kill? Yeah, the Corona. That's right. Yeah, Tom Hanks on the Corona typewriter talking about losing to his wife in Gin Rummy by 201 points when Event 201 was the simulation on October 18th, 2019. No, he didn't beat his wife. She was beating him. She was beating him. Uh, yeah, yeah, there's even more. There's even more. But yeah, Bernie baby dead on the 56th day of the year from supposedly SIDS, and Bernie was 74 years old at the time. Again, it's just like how Event 201 was on the day, leaving 74 days left in the air. If you're new here, 74, very special number to the Cabal, to the Masons. Masonry is based in Jewish mysticism. Of course, Bernie is, you know, of the spirituality, but killing, big 74. The Ides of March, remember the killing of Caesar on the 74th day of the year. Jefferson and Adams, who both warned about the Jesuits, what they could do to this nation if they came out of suppression, dead together on 7-4. And just with regards to the Society of Jesus running it all, again, Jesus, gospel, cross, Messiah, parables, all 74. The common belief is Jesus on the cross. At age 33, the news of Bernie baby's death broke on March 3rd, 3-3, while Bernie was 74. Again, these numbers get paired together all the time. It's just like the only state that equals 74 is the 33rd state, Oregon. And yeah, don't forget the English translation of Jesus is Joshua, which is 74. Again, English, Gematria, energy, the list goes on. Big time number, 74. But yeah, this ritual for Bernie. And don't forget Jesus from Judea. He's Jewish too, right? So it fits in there as well. But Bernie baby, the son, announced dead on 3-3, and he had died on February 25th. And remember, Society of Jesus, the small way with numerology applied, is 56. And notice also, just in the base ciphers, Bernie baby, 83 like murder. The song Murder by Numbers came out in 1983, about how murder's a game and it's the sport of the elected. This is when Bernie was running for the election and should have won the Democratic nomination, but he conceded to Hillary. You know, Trump can only beat the ladies in the elections. It's a little hands thing. Bernie baby with numerology applied to 47, like government, like authority, like president, like White House, like Republican, like Democrat, like DC, like the Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid. In reverse, Bernie babies 187 and 61. Huge numbers with DC, the Jesuits, the Holy Roman Empire. For the record, if you're new here, I showed you all the 74s. If you run it in reverse, Jesus and cross are 61 in reverse. And again, in sacred geometry, 61 represents God because the flower of life is the symbol that represents God. It's made out of 61 overlapping circles. So yeah, Bernie baby dead on the 56th day of the year. You see how it comes together? And this is the man that people think is fighting for their rights. He's the good guy in DC. Not at all. Not at all. He went right along with the oligarchy in the time of the scandemic, and he's still stumping for the oligarchy, as you just saw in the clip of him with RFK Jr. But yeah, don't forget this either. Just so many 47s with the presidency. Obama took office at age 47. Biden was the 47th vice president after Biden was a member of the federal government for 47 years. He became president himself. President, White House, government authority, Republican, Whig, Democrat, DC, Trump, all 47, right? Trump saying, I've done more in 47 months than Biden's done in 47 years. And now who's number 47? The chump himself. And don't forget, The Simpsons have that cartoon from years ago where Ivanka's running for president in 2028. That's the year she'll turn 47 years old. We'll see what that means. They're saying this administration, they want to change the laws, bring back unlimited terms. I gotta be honest though. I think they should do that. I think you should be able to stay in office for as long. Well, our elections are all rigged, but I'm just saying, if assuming the elections aren't rigged and scripted, if that wasn't the case, I think you should be able to stay in office for as long as you were fairly elected. I think that's the real thing we just need to get done. Actually, have fair elections and not rigged elections. I mean, if you had a great leader, why get him out of there after 8 years? Imagine you finally had a real leader, a greatest leader, creating a real golden era for a lot of people. Why should they have to be out after 8 years? Again, the whole system's just set up so people can keep pointing the finger at, oh, I hate that party. No, it was that party. It's the real game with this system. Okay. Here, let's listen to Bernie one more time, how he fights oligarchy. Let's listen to him. How many lies did he rack up here in a minute 50?
Scientists with the Yale School of Public Health and University of Maryland have estimated that the COVID vaccine saved 3 million lives and prevented 18 million hospitalizations. President Trump, someone who I do not often agree with, has said that the COVID vaccine was, quote, one of the greatest miracles of the ages. That's Donald Trump. But Bobby, you had a very different perspective. At a time when thousands of Americans were dying from COVID every week in May of 2021, you petitioned the Food and Drug Administration to revoke the emergency use of COVID vaccines. So my question to you is, were the scientists who told us that the COVID vaccine was imperative, and President Trump who told us that it was this great thing, were they right, or were you right when you told people that they should not take COVID shots?
Senator, I filed that lawsuit after CDC recommended the vaccine for 6-year-old children without any evidence that it would benefit them and without testing on 6-year-old children. And that was my reason for filing that lawsuit.
Was the vaccine, COVID vaccine, successful in saving millions of lives?
I don't know. We don't have a good surveillance system, unfortunately.
We don't know?
I don't think anybody can say that. If you show me science that says
But
that.
you know, Bob, you say, if I show you, you're applying for the job. I mean, clearly, you should know this. And that is, the scientific community has established that COVID vaccines save millions of lives, and you're casting doubt. That is really problematic.
All right. Now, I put out the video earlier today on Bernie and questioning his fight against oligarchy in light of his record in the scandemic, where he went along with everything and wanted to use taxpayer money to make sure all Americans were mailed a bunch of masks, a complete waste of our money. Again, oligarchy is what was behind the scandemic. And yeah, it's just a joke to think anybody would ever believe that he's fighting it. And it's because people are so clueless. So what was funny is I did that video, and then my feed started popping up with Bernie Sanders people. And this video popped up, and I saw, okay, this kid gets a bunch of views. Who's he? Parker, get a job. 391,000 views this video. So anyway, I was listening to this video. He's just debating with mega people. And I want to play this clip here, and then I want to show you something that happened because he was live today, and I hopped in his stream and I got in there, and I just want you to see this little pretentious Bernie Sanders thing that is being created in society. And it makes me sick that, you know, a kid like this who doesn't know anything about anything is getting this kind of views, this little know-it-all smarmy. Anyway, but he likes to debate really dumb people. I'm just going to play this so you can hear it. This is the kind of stuff that's passing as content, and this is the blind leading the blind. But I want to play this clip. He thinks he's real smart because he's beating up on your typical trailer trash Republican here. And I'll let this play for a bit, and then I'll show you when I called into his show what happened. But check this out.
Right, you don't want to restrict.
1999, we went from smallpox to chickenpox to goddamn 40 fucking million vaccines.
Yeah, I'm sorry, science
Yeah,
break.
I got a problem.
I
got a problem.
Dude, I understand that like the internet might not be that great in the middle of the woods, but at least you can connect to the internet and Google Scholar enough to know that there are studies that are vast that show the effectiveness of vaccines. And just because there's more than one vaccine doesn't mean that they're ineffective. I'm just going to let you know, right? The vast majority of human civilization, has been negatively impacted by viruses that you can now sit up on a live in front of literally almost 9,000 people and say that aren't effective. The vaccines, they aren't effective after they've literally almost eradicated viruses that have literally killed human beings for fucking thousands and thousands and
So again, this is a 23-year-old regurgitating what he learned in his storybook. In his storybook, he wasn't even alive when 9/11 happened. In his storybook, he learns that it was Osama bin Laden, the man in the cave, who executed the master plan that overcame the multi-trillion-dollar defense nation, where just the day before Donald Rumsfeld happened to admit that over $2 trillion were missing. Not to mention those history books leave out the fact that bin Laden was a CIA asset and a million other things. But yeah, so many people just believe these stories that they learned in slave school. I mean, do we even know that it's true? That's what I grew up getting told the same thing. Christopher Columbus discovered a land where people already lived. Jonas Salk was the greatest person, probably the greatest person ever. He saved the world with his jab after it killed a bunch of people, and then they had to use Elvis to promote it on Bill Gates' birthday. Again, do we know that any of this is actually true, especially in light of recent history? I mean, right now they're trying to tell us up is down. They're trying to tell us it was safe and effective and it saved millions of people. It's like, well, again, the only person who got it in my family is constantly sick. Pretty sure she took years off her life, and I'm talking about my sister. My neighbors have the same story next door. Like I just said, there's 3 babies on the block. 2 got jabbed. 1 didn't. That was mine that didn't. The only one that didn't get flu this winter. I know the only time I got the flu shot in my life was what year was it? It was the end of 2006, or maybe it was the beginning of 2007. It was around then though. I'd moved to Seattle in a new job, and I was working in a group home, and I didn't want to get it, but the nurse there was like, "No, trust me, you want it here. That you've never been in an environment like this. There'll be so much illness." Man, right after I got that shot, it probably wasn't even a whole week later, I got more sick than I'd ever been in my life. I got the flu for the first time. So just from my own personal experience too. And why can't we talk about these things? All I'm talking about is facts. Just facts are just flying out of my mouth. And supposedly it's misinformation. No, it's just like in 2012, the kinds of things I'm saying right now, there were a lot of parents giving their own account of what happened to their child when they got that what's an upside down W? When you flip it around, what letter is that? If you flip a W up around and it's a R, again, because the algorithm, that shot, everyone has the same story about that shot. And don't forget, RFK Jr. just did his ritual with that shot too on April 7th. M plus R plus V plus A plus C plus C plus I plus N plus E equals 47. He had his big ritual with that on 4/7. Anyway, let's come back to this kid right here. Thinks he knows it all.
thousands of years, right, at very high rates, right? We've eradicated illnesses.
Then why are the vaccines in a
polio,
Fine.
measles, smallpox. These are things that have been practically eradicated until as of recently with this like literally insane anti-vax movement where you guys don't believe in science.
Why there's motherfuckers running around in a foreign country with 5 fucking limbs and
What?
3 heads.
What are you talking? What?
Yeah, your vaccine.
Say that one more time.
That's why you got motherfuckers running around in a foreign country with 11 fucking arms and 5 eyeballs because of Bill Gates' fucking vaccines work.
All right. Parker, would you like an answer to your question?
Dawson, I just have a question. Do you think
Yeah.
what he just said was crazy?
Yeah, I'm not. I take the fifth, brother. I take the fifth.
You plead the fifth? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I got to address it real quick. I'm sorry. Bro thinks eyes are popping up in the side of humans' fucking arms and shit. What are you talking about? What are you saying,
The
bro?
vaccines were so
Bill
great.
Gates is not giving people vaccines that are doing that. What are you talking about? Can you give me a source?
Bill Gates was a vaccine.
Where did you read
inventor.
this? Where did you read that eyeballs were popping up 11
literally watched
eyeballs?
I literally watched this motherfucking.
What is this,
old
Monsters, Inc.?
fucking- I literally watched Bill Gates stand up and talk about vaccines and a outbreak and a.
No,
and-
you
and
said
all-
11 eyeballs. What are you talking about?
Yeah, because his vaccines wasn't approved here in America.
That is not true. You know that's not true. You know it's not true. We're not in Monsters, Inc., right? It is not true that there was 11 eyeballs like we're in The Simpsons, bro. Shut up, dude. What are you talking about?
I guess you ain't seen his vaccines in live action.
I understand that you're saying that there was 11 eyes, but that's just because you've had 12 beers in the past 50 minutes.
No, I've watched the world.
I
evolve
promise you,
before.
it's not that there are 11 eyes on a person. It's that's what you're seeing, okay?
Yeah, that's why JFK is jumping in.
Ask yourself. Thank you for the $2, dude. Okay, so you really think that all vaccines are harmful?
Yes.
Okay, so let's run through what I was bringing that up for, right? You don't want to restrict bodily autonomy to save human lives when it comes to vaccines, but you do want to do that when it comes to abortion because you want to restrict bodily autonomy for women, but not when it
Yeah,
comes
I
to
don't
restricting
agree.
bodily autonomy for yourself or any other men.
All right. Well, listen, I agree with half the shit you're saying, but not all the shit you're saying. These motherfuckers sit up in a goddamn lab and put chemicals and they don't even know what the fuck they're fucking doing, but they're making billions of fucking dollars on putting this, that, and the third in a goddamn shot. That's causing.
I'm sorry. Please, seriously, like, I really just like wish as an American you do more fucking research, dude. Jesus Christ, don't. You make our country look so stupid. I'm sorry. Please, just stop, man.
Okay,
It's
'cause
getting
you
bad.
put
It's getting
dirt
really
in
bad,
a
dude. You
fucking
make
flour and that you don't even know nothing about. the
no,
fucking
dude. It's
flour.
so bad, man.
Put it in a fucking shot.
Dude, oh
And all
my
of a sudden,
God.
the motherfucking goddamn person's
Hey,
got
I just want to let you know. Hey, this is on the internet.
We just cured can't you know?
Hey,
just,
listen. We're on the internet right now, and this will be seen by future humans. There are human beings that are going to be watching this back from the future, like 1,000 fucking years from now, and they're going to be like, "Damn, these were our ancestors? Jesus fucking Christ!"
I agree with.
Okay, so anyway, after this came up in my feed and I clicked on it, he went live and then that popped up in my feed because that's the way YouTube works, right? You click on a channel and then it'll start notifying you when they put out new content. So I was working on, I'm always working on things. So I was listening to his live stream in the background. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and hop on here and see if I can make some points to him and see how he responds. Well, he has a co-host too that interrupts. It looks like they might still be going live. Here. They gave me the boot very quickly, and I might have to rewind it a second. Let me see where it's at.
Because that debate is not the debate I'm having. You're not MAGA. You didn't vote for Donald Trump. You're just
Okay.
going to say don't vote. You're going to say don't engage with the political process, and I'm going to tell you that leads to more harm, right? And that's the only.
See, yeah, I am here in the back. I need to rewind this a little bit, but he's like, you're going to say don't involve. That's not what I'm going to say. He starts putting words in my mouth. I was explaining how the elections are rigged and nobody should be supporting any of these candidates because none of them really represent us. And these whole left versus right, your side's dumber than my side is actually what's dumb, was the point I was trying to make. But I'm gonna have to rewind here a second.
Conversation we're gonna have, that's not related to the conversation I'm having here on live.
Okay,
It's already clear what my position is. I want people to vote. It's clear what your position is. You don't want people to vote.
It's nobody should be voting in rigged selections.
Okay.
Again-
Well, you have no evidence that it's rigged.
Or see, why would he say I have no evidence that it's rigged? We haven't even got to that point yet. And do we not have evidence that it's rigged? Have I not called like all the elections in every election that's happened in the time I've been aware of this work? We told you 4 years ago why they're going to reinstall the Trump in 2024 by understanding the way the system's rigged Kabbalistically. 2020, pretty much the only person on the internet was saying why Joe Biden would be installed as number 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday in light of the sacrifice of his son, Beau Biden, at age 46, and him becoming the second Catholic president when the first was killed at age 46. And there's 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. And then, of course, in 2015, I saw at the first debate how they put up the numbers on the screen that suggested the Trump was going to be installed then as the president. But look at this. See, this like, I noticed that the majority of his callers who call in sound like that last caller. And I was starting to wonder, like, are these callers even real? Because they sound like they do sound like the Republican stereotypes. They all sound kind of like the trailer trash Republicans. And there are a lot of those kind of Republicans, but are they really online calling into shows like this and this smarmy little kid? You know what I mean? It's like they never call into my show. How come he has like caller after caller that sounds like this? It almost seems like it's some kind of propaganda because, like, if you go to a place like Seattle where a kid like this would be liked, that's kind of the mindset of how all Republicans are, that they're white, beer belly, trailer trash with their wife beaters on. Almost all of his callers sound just like the one guy was playing, is what I noticed from listening today. But here, hold on.
Hold on. Let me give me a minute. 2000.
No.
They told us.
Zachary, get the fuck off my stream. You're wasting my time. Get the fuck out of here. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Oh, hold on. I got to rewind. But you see how he was? It's like he kept making these points, but then not allowing me to respond and then putting words in my mouth. No, this kid's a punk, man. But it makes me sick that this is the kind of shit that's getting the views on YouTube. He's got 3,000 people watching. The thing's still going on. This is what people are watching? Unbelievable. And by the way, when live streaming first came out, this is what I did in every stream. So, see, it's like they got rid of the real truth tellers on this platform, and now we've been subbed out for kids like this, and it might all be completely controlled.
Karen, did you vote for Donald Trump? Hello? Alyssa, did you vote for Donald Trump?
Here, I'm going to play this from the beginning.
Okay. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Or you seem old enough. Did you vote for Donald Trump? Zachary, did you vote for Donald Trump?
Parker, are you talking to me?
Yeah, what's up?
Listen, you're a young guy. I really like what you do.
Just for the record, I was trying to be friendly since I never called into his show. I thought that might help, but it did not help out.
Content creator. I've been on YouTube for over 12 years. I've gone through a lot of censorship. My channel's been deleted 20 sometimes. I would love to have a conversation with you because I think you have a great mind and I respect you as a young person, but you are on the wrong path right now. And Bernie Sanders, if we have this conversation, I think you'll take that flag down behind you. So I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I voted for Trump. I was 17 years old in 2000. That was the year of Bush beating Kerry. And I don't know if you were alive back then, but the election came down to Florida, where his brother was the 43rd governor.
Bush beat Gore, by the way.
Yeah, Bush. Well, initially it was called for Gore, but then Fox News broke the news that actually it was too close to call.
No, you said Bush v. Kerry. That's that was 2004.
In 2004, and yeah, they're both in Skull and Bones at Yale. But here's the point I made. Bush beat Gore in 2000. Sorry, I misspoke. Again, I don't know if you were. How old are you, Parker?
I'm 23 years old, but so you did vote for Donald Trump here in 2024?
Again, just to make a point. I was 17 years old, almost 18 in 2000.
Is it possible
That
you can answer that
election,
question real quick?
what's that?
Did you vote for Donald Trump in 2024?
Again, I'm explaining to you why nobody should be voting in any of these elections.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
I
mean,
reject that wholeheartedly.
I'm debating people who voted for Donald Trump, so I'm not like.
Well, here,
gonna
let me
debate
tell you.
that.
Let me tell you why
Zachary,
I might have voted
Zachary.
for Donald Trump had I voted.
Okay. Well, Zachary, like respectfully, I'm doing a live like where I debate people like who did vote for Donald Trump. If you
By the way, if you watch this kid debate, he'll go off into all kinds of tangents and different topics and start bringing up other things. So this was bullshit for him to be like, oh, no, this is out of bounds. This is out of bounds. Like, dude, the things you've been talking about are way more off topic than me talking about how rigged the political system is on both sides when he's trying to stump for the left and make it seem like the only retards are the ones on the right. I mean, you have a flag of a guy who sacrificed a baby to play a puppet in the 2016 election, only to hand it all over to Hillary, and now who's stumping for the jabs that were anything but safe or effective. You know.
want to have a different type of conversation, well, then you can create a platform where you can have those types of conversations. But that's not the type of conversation that I'm having here on my platform right now. It's like someone coming up on my live stream and talking to me about like some other related issue that is not related to politics, right? That's like
No, it's
obviously I'm
absolutely
going to be like,
related.
oh, I'm going to debate about politics, or I'm going to debate about the
Can
election.
you put me up on the
specifically.
screen real quick? It's absolutely related.
It's not, because it is.
And ask yourself, why doesn't he put the person on the screen? And he had me up there for a split second, but why doesn't he put the person on the screen? Like, what is this tactic to not show the other person? What is this about? I've never seen anybody do that who uses StreamYard to keep the other person off the screen. And let's be honest too. Does this kid not look like the liberal stereotype? If I show you his footage on the street, he has like a toothpick body. His chest is caved in. Literally, his chest goes in. Like it's not like he's fat. It's just that he's a true toothpick with no muscle mass. He looks like the liberal stereotype, effeminate, weak body. It's like he's a cartoon character.
Is the case that you are not the opposition to the side I am disagreeing with and debating on the lives.
Well, in a
Zachary,
way,
if you want to go onto your own platform and you want to go say, oh, you guys should not vote, go for it, dude. But this is my platform. I'm debating people who did vote for Donald Trump. So if you did not vote for Donald Trump, respectfully, get the hell out of the space.
Parker, we are opposition. That is why this conversation.
Yeah, I don't engage with every person I disagree
Okay,
with. People can't just come up on my live and say, hey, people just can't come up on my live and be like, I want to debate who the GOAT is for basketball. Is that a realistic thing? No, because that's not what we're debating here on the live stream.
Well,
they're in opposition to me. They think that Michael Jordan's the GOAT. Well, and I think LeBron James is the GOAT. They're not.
Isn't it funny just like how light years ahead we are of the public? Like this fucking loser right here doesn't understand. If he would just shut up, how I could even just show him how the sports are completely scripted. And that's a dumb conversation too. And why LeBron won on the real King James's birthday, and why Trump had his convention in the Cleveland Cavaliers Stadium days later, only to return as the next Grover Cleveland split-term president, and how we called all this literally 8 years ago. Again, that's the thing about us, you guys. We're it's like we're too far ahead of the curve. Everybody's stuck on stupid, and it's like the movie Idiocracy, and it is the blind leading the blind. This little fruitcake that looks I bet you this kid I bet you I'd put a lot of money on it. This kid could not bench the bar in a gym. If you don't know what the bar is, it's 45 pounds. I bet this kid could not bench the bar.
Opposition to me, but I'm not going to debate that because it's not the context of the live.
Parker,
so are you Zachary, now that you've heard my boundaries, are you able to respect them?
I respect.
And who said, I mean, I'm on his platform, but in my mind, I'm like, is this kid fucking serious? God, you are a girl. I hate this young generation of just fruitcakes. Do you respect my boundaries? You're online talking shit to people and acting like liberalism is holier than thou, while conservatism is completely retarded, when literally Donald Trump is more of a traditional liberal. He's a big spender. He doesn't like the First Amendment. He doesn't like the Second Amendment. Actually, liberalism is more. I'll take back the remark on the First Amendment, but he doesn't like the Second Amendment. He said, I like take the guns first and due process second. That's more of a liberal position. Again, there's not a whole lot with Trump that's conservative, but it irks me that social media is making this happen, controlling what voices get out there, and then What? This is what we get to listen to? This is what fills up the feeds? A little fruitcake who doesn't know shit about shit. And then when somebody tries to call and say something, he gets all his panties in a bunch. You're not respecting my boundaries.
Your boundaries, but what I'm trying to say
Then,
fits in with your
so you're not
conversation.
respecting the boundaries. Because that debate is not the debate I'm having. You're not MAGA. You didn't vote for Donald Trump. You're just going to say don't vote. You're going to say don't engage with the political process. And I'm going to tell you that leads to more harm, right? And that's the
Is that what I was going to say? Don't engage with the political process? No. Like every day I'm engaging with the political process. I'm saying don't vote in rigged selections because you're only validating a lie. There's other ways to be part of the political process other than to participate in the lie, such as revolting against it, such as exposing it.
the only conversation we're going to have. That's not related to the conversation I'm having here on live.
Okay.
It's already clear what my position is. I want people to vote. It's clear what your position is. You don't want people to vote.
It's nobody should be voting in rigged selections.
Okay.
Again,
well, you have no evidence that it's rigged.
All right, hold on.
See, that's annoying too. You have no evidence it's rigged. Wouldn't a better statement be, what evidence do you have that it's rigged? Him and I have never talked before. He doesn't know who I am. Why would you say you have no evidence and then cut off the person? And then the funny thing is I saw that he was still going an hour ago. He's still going. But I just tried to see if I could hop back on there again, and I'm blocked. I'm now blocked. Check this out. Here, I'll just try it right now. Here, I'll finish it, and then I'll show you it's blocked.
Let me give me a minute. 2000.
No.
They told us.
Zachary, get the fuck off.
Listen to the way he talks. You see, this is what bothers me too. This is a guy who would never talk to people like this on the street because his body looks like it could break with a violent wind. You know?
Off my stream. You're wasting my time. Get the fuck out of here. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
His whole stream is literally a waste of time just talking to nobody of any intelligence about anything. And again, I think that he got the hint of, hold on, no, we don't want anyone exposing our scam here. But look at this. Try to go back on here. Look at this guy. You've been blocked? What a pussy. God. What a pussy. Yeah, he's a bad stereotype. Like, he is the liberal stereotype. Effeminate looking, weak, just tough guy online, AKA fucking loser. And yeah, again, it makes me sick that this is what's getting the views now. And it's obvious, you know, like if you're a YouTuber right now and you look into how to improve your views, everyone has the exact same tip right now. They say YouTube made it important at some point that when you upload your files, you need to save your file name as the same way that your title is when you title the video before it goes out. So I thought, could that possibly be true? Could that possibly be true? Because it didn't used to be that way. I used to get plenty of views, and I never took the time to title my videos. I would just, make the title when you publish the thing. If you don't understand what I'm saying, when you save the file to your computer, I would just save it as, whatever the default is then when you save it, and then upload the file, and then when it posts to YouTube, put the title there. So if you look on YouTube, everyone's making the same video saying that if you do that, you will get a lot better views if your title matches the saved file that is uploaded. So anyway, I've done that now for 3 videos. I feel like I'm getting even worse views. This channel is just on lockdown. So again, I will be launching the count on it, but so far they haven't enabled the features on count on it. I'm still in the pending process, and I don't know how long that's going to take. Back in the day, I don't remember that taking longer than 24 hours. But yeah, I am hoping the new channel, or who knows, maybe it's already shadow banned. Maybe that's why it's taken so long to even get the features enabled. But all of this is just maddening, man. We have such an important message to get out, and instead all that gets out is just more and more bullshit. And copycatism too. That's the other thing that everyone's recommending on YouTube to get views. They're saying just copy whatever's trending. And you see how there's like everybody's making the same videos on the same topics, and you click on one person's video, then your feed's like 50 other videos that are all the same topic, and you don't see any of your own subscribers' content. So Yeah, I covered the Carmelo thing. Again, the Carmelo Anthony news breaks the same day that the Carmelo Anthony NBA star, former Syracuse star, gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. If you missed my work on that, you can go back and watch it. But yeah, it's more divisive race war propaganda by the numbers. And if you missed the video on that, I talked about how it happened exactly 44 weeks after Carmelo Anthony's birthday. You know, you think of the Ides of March, remember the stabbing of Caesar in 44 BC, and all the great running backs at Syracuse that were 44. Again, that story broke on 4/2, April 2nd, 42 in Black History. The Carmelo, the teenager who supposedly stabbed the, what's his name, Austin Metcalf, he spells Carmelo with a K, whereas the NBA star spells it with a C. But Carmelo with a K equals 42. But yeah, 2 days later on 4/4, Ray Seals of Syracuse died. And if you missed that video, you should check that out too. It was all synced up with Ernie Davis, the Express, who also played at Syracuse, because Ray Seals played in the NFL, and then he also played in the EFL for the Syracuse Express, named after Ernie Davis. Chris, are you on the Patreon? I saw you texted me today that the NBA finals start on June 5th, and I was like, how's he texting me that, man? We've been talking about that since the preseason. Like, of course they do. Of course they do, Chris. That's how we came up with our futures in the preseason, which are looking pretty good. Well, Denmark, once upon a time, could grow just fine on this platform and get great views. Even that kid that we were just watching, I saw that his most viewed video is 300,000 views. You know, I've had over 100 videos in my time on YouTube get way more than 300,000 views. So things have changed, though, on this platform. I haven't had any video get 100,000 views since the day before January 6th. And again, I did 2 videos on what was to come on January 6th, and they both got over 100,000 views. And then the channel got deleted days after January 6th for those videos. And all I did was showed what happened at Jesuit Georgetown on June 12th, 2020, how they simulated January 6th and Biden winning the election. And then the channel was taken down for medical misinformation. It's like, oh, really? So revealing the simulation about how Biden would beat Trump and it would lead to deadly violence in America because Trump would refuse to step down is medical misinformation. Seems like revealing something that wasn't supposed to be revealed was the real crime. Somebody in the chat right away says you're a Patreon salesman. How long have I been in this stream for before I even mentioned anything? An hour? An hour? I'm just talking to Chris in the chat because I know he's part of the sports community, but I don't. Now that I think about it, I don't ever see him in the Patreon discussions. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't really try to sell much of anything on here. I don't push any merch. I hardly bring up my book. I bring up my Patreon once in a while. But yeah, you know, I get on here and get out important news, even though I'm dead tired and super exhausted. And again, there's never really much support for any of the very important work I do. Case in point, been on here for an hour, should have went to bed, and the stream's raised $4. So you look at most of these people. I mean, look at that Parker kid. He's probably just in the time I was in there, he raised about $400. I was in his stream for about 30 minutes today, made about $400 in 30 minutes. He's been on there for hours. Who knows? If I go back through it, I wouldn't be surprised if he's made thousands of dollars tonight. Not to mention he'll get paid a ton of ad revenue for all the views that stream will get. So, you know, that stream will probably generate upwards of $10,000. It looks like he might be making that kind of money. Maybe he's making that kind of money every day doing this. And it makes you wonder where these kids come from. Who are these chosen 23-year-olds to get on the internet and be smarmy know-it-alls and get paid this kind of money? Like, man, when I was his age, I had to work my ass off to make a decent living. This kid's online talking bullshit out of his ass and getting very well financially rewarded for it. So I saw David Hogg was in the news tonight too. They were talking about how he's moving up into the higher ranks of the Democratic Party, and it's like I've been saying for years. I've been saying all these little state-sponsored shootings. Just wait until I mean, you think about it. The 2012 children, when SH happened, um, that was 13 years ago. So if you were 5 years old when that happened, if you were in kindergarten that year, you're now voting age. And this whole generation is, again, it's you look at this younger generation, it's not pretty. Half of them are obese. They look like they're about to kill over, but then they're very effeminate. They're very afraid of everything. They already have all kinds of health problems. They're super susceptible to the lies of Big Brother. They've raised a really weak generation of people. And again, I mean, it's like the writing's on the wall. The writing is on the wall. But I'm not throwing in the towel. It looks, I mean, it looks like it's a foregone conclusion where everything's going to, but I'm not going out like a punk. I'm going to keep speaking out against it. And I hope I do run into a kid like that. What's his name? Parker. Parker, get a job. I hope I run into that kid on the streets of LA. Next time we're down in LA, I hope we run into Parker. See if he runs his mouth like that in person. We know it's not going to happen. The last time I got in a fight, Travis, I had to fight two dudes at once as well. Yeah, it's not everybody in the younger generation. There's exceptions, but overwhelmingly, it's the majority. There's never been a weaker crop of individuals coming up in the history of humanity, and it's not even close. Yeah, Parker does equal 33. Trust me, I'm very aware of that. Just look at Robbie Parker, double 33. You never know. You never know. I'm not going to say that that's necessarily the case, but it does make you wonder when you're a 23-year-old and you're getting everything fed your way through the traffic. And it's like I said, right after I posted the video on Bernie Sanders, he was up all in my feed just because I posted something about Bernie Sanders. Like, what's this? This is the #1 Bernie Sanders advocate on YouTube. Well, Samson, I disagree with you. Fist fighting does have a place. It definitely has a place. It's just like giving your children a spanking on the butt has a place. It shouldn't ever be like a first resort. But again, generations past got a spanking on the butt when they were out of line, and now parents can't do that anymore. And you see children very disrespectful. Um, just ask teachers who've been teaching for 40, 50 years. They see the difference in the no spanking generation. It's like these kids don't respect anything. They're like little Parkers. And see, that Parker kid is just like the most annoying type of person because you can tell he's super sensitive and weak. You're not respecting my boundaries, asking me about if the election's rigged. Get the fuck off my show, asshole. It's just like, what? Dude, have some consistency. You can't be whiny little bitch and then talking all this shit. I mean, come on. Yeah, exactly. I suspect his dad's somebody or his family works at big tech. It's just like the other kid that's getting all the views, the little Mormon kid that gets to go on Fox News. He's another Trumper. God, what's that kid's name? I can't think of his name right now. Magic underwear kid. Well, I never really thought Bernie Sanders looks like a creepy guy. You never know, though, with these Washington, D.C. types. I think a lot of them are. The one thing I will say about Bernie Sanders is he's definitely a puppet and not a good person. But again, if you have to rank these politicians in terms of who tells the most truths, of course, it's a very low bar. It's a very low bar. But like I said earlier, he'd probably be in the top 20. Probably tells more truth than almost everyone in the Congress or Senate, but he's still a scumbag and a major fraud and a part of horribly evil agendas. Sure. Yeah, fighting over nonsense isn't anything, but you know what? I mean, again, that Parker kid, the way he's talking to people, I wasn't disrespectful to him. The way he was talking to me over trying to raise some relevant points, that's where you deserve to get your ass whooped. He wouldn't talk like that in person, and if he did, you know, that's the other thing too. We live in this day and age where you can't give somebody a nice knuckle sandwich right to the teeth, or you might end up with major legal problems in a courtroom. That's also another problem with this generation, because if him and I are in person and I'm talking to him the way I did, being nice to him, just to see if we can get a conversation going, and he starts talking to me like that, he deserves to get his teeth knocked out. And if he got put on his ass and got his teeth knocked out, he'd know not to talk to somebody like that the next time, especially when his body looks the way he does. Or else he'd get on some juice and get in the gym and fix himself. Yeah, I pulled up one of his videos where he's on the street talking to people, and I was like, God, this kid looks like he would blow away in the wind. Yeah, Nick Shirley, exactly. Yeah, he was at the White House. And the other thing about that Nick Shirley is he brought on that Franchot Pearson, who's taken my work and made it look really bad. I couldn't believe he brought on Franchot Pearson to talk about Gematria. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. And he just made it look dumber than ever. So, all right, True Seeker. We will leave it there. Actually, hold on. I want to do something real quick. Oh, snap. Hold on, you guys. I'm going to be back. I want to test and make sure the phone line is still working again before I do the podcast. I just want to see this thing go off without a hitch again. Hold on, I have to grab my phone though. It's in the other room. It's going to be that number. I have to enable that number, but give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay. Actually, I know what's up. Hold on 1 second. I gotta switch because what I was using for this other camera was my phone. I don't have an actual webcam. I just have the cam on my monitor. And with OBS, you can use your smartphone as a camera. I just wanted to see if you guys like the different angle. So far, it's gotten mixed feedback. But hold on. All right. If somebody can call that 509 number, 509-560-4982. I just posted it in the chat. I'll post it again if you're in the chat. Or actually, hold up. I probably got to do one other thing, don't I? Oh, hold on, 510. I realized I got to do one more thing. I didn't connect. Okay. All right. Now, if somebody wants to call the 509 number, we'll see if it works. All right. Yeah. If somebody can do this, I just want to do a quick test. It worked the other day. I want to make sure it works again.
Hello.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, Zach? Pretty chill stream tonight. I was kind of off topic. I was kind of off topic. And honestly, those kids. Actually, no. Let me stay on topic. Those kids that you're having questions about, I'm pretty sure that they came off Epstein Island or these islands. You know, they're literally, like you say, born and bred. And I seen a post on my algorithm on X about these islands that have pretty much whole cities and towns on these islands. That's all like these. What do you call them? These like these mass shooting people at the schools and like 9/11. Like these, where do they get these people from? I think that's where they're getting them from. Like they're literally getting them from these islands. These people are literally just born and bred for this specific thing, and they're going over and over the script and stuff like that. And these kids that are coming out, just to have like, because to get the audience now, you have to have like an internet presence, and like, so that they're using the youth now and giving them big audiences like the Mosses and all this and the Speeds, and I think that they're chill. I think they're born and bred. But I'll wait to pray Sean in the morning. Now I'll make sure to call in the beginning. But yeah, thanks for taking my call, Zach.
All right, man.
How's
Appreciate
it going, man?
Yeah, you too. Oh, I was trying to answer 702. Sorry, 702. I was slow on the draw, but yeah, I'm glad this is working again. So that is a good sign when we do get the show up and running. Again, like I said, I'm waiting to get the features approved on the Count On It channel. And when I do, we'll start the new podcast. But here, let's make sure this keeps working. 702? 702?
Hey, shalom, Zach. How you doing, brother? Long time to talk to.
Is this my man with the advice on always wear cotton?
Wait, no, I don't know about cotton.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's somebody else.
Hey, but my grandma picked cotton. Yeah, my grandma picked cotton.
I used to always have a caller from
702. Yeah, I think my dad picked a little bit of cotton.
No, he would always say, make sure you wear cotton. And it is a different caller. What's up? What's up, 702?
Hey, word up. Hey, bro, I'm calling in. You said somebody call in, make sure the line is working loud and clear. I appreciate everything you do every day. You helped me to make sure that I was sane. The work that I've done for over 10 years, just studying, mainly from my family, so I can be a beacon of truth. You helped to perfect my studies, specifically with who the Illuminati actually is. And just, helping me out. I've even been, doing some of the, I've been in the sports book, and I haven't made money to pay any bills, but I have made some money back based on the Gematria and Numerology and all that you do. I appreciate you. Yeah. And I've called you before too. It's been about 3 months since I talked to you last.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah. I excuse me. I'm kind of coming in a little late, so I'm not sure, what the topics are, but we can hop in anywhere. I really wanted to talk to you about the Bible, but I've I haven't sent you anything because I have a lot of artwork that I've done. I have a lot of research that I've done, and I've just been a little indecisive about what I wanted to actually send to you, so we can open up a dialogue. But here's the time. It presented itself, and yeah, I really appreciate what you do, man. Your consistency is unmatched, especially given the topics that you cover. It's not easy, but you do it in a masterful way, and I appreciate you for it.
Well, I appreciate it. And since you're on the line right now, if you just wanted to talk more about whatever was on your mind with the Bible, you might as well go for it.
Hey, let's do it, man. Hey, 322, bro. It's been like everywhere, 322, because I've studied Kabbalah since 2012. I actually started studying it. First, I started with Dogon cosmology, which comes out of Mali, Timbuktu. Everybody's like, oh, Timbuktu, it's way out there in Timbuktu. Well, Timbuktu is in Mali, and they have a cosmology called the Dogons, the Dogon tribe. And so I started studying Dogons in 2012, and then I found Kabbalah. And then I started reading the Bible in 2013 and learned a lot of Hebrew words. And, I was really on the trail. I'm like, well, what really is going on in our world? And yeah, the Bible, man. If I was going to say anything and put anything out there that's the most important thing that people say all the time, but they don't know what the definition of the word in the Bible is, it would be the word smart. Because the word smart is used in the King James, which was published in 1611. And the word smart is used one time. And that's significant for people who are Bible scholars, because there's words that are used, over 10, 20 times. But the words that are used 1, 2 times, those are the most important words for the time that we live in today. And the first word is smart. In Proverbs chapter 11, verse 15. I memorized the scripture, if you don't mind me reciting it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. He who is surety for a stranger shall smart for it, but he that hateth suretyship is sure. Yeah. And in the Hebrew, the word smart means evil, bad, and punishment. And we have smartphones, smart TVs, smart water, smart meters, smart technology this, smart technology that. What are they trying to tell us? And from your teachings, I was also able to derive that the Bible is used as a playbook for these psychopaths. And the Christians who claim to read the scriptures in the 1611, none of them know what smart means in Hebrew. And if they actually did, they would understand that your teachings are 100% correct and important.
I wish
and
more
that's
people felt
Proverbs.
that way. Go ahead.
Yes, Proverbs chapter 11, verse 15. Yeah, anybody, and this is in the King James Version. The word smart was removed from the New King James. And that's why I understand why people wouldn't know if they're reading the New King James, because it's easier to read and people are lazy. They don't want to challenge their brain. But I love reading the King James version of the Bible. And that's 1611. And that's where the word smart was used one time. And one other caveat I would like to give you is that the word science is used 2 times in the King James Version. And the word for science, and this is in Greek, it's gnosis, which might be elusive to some people, but we all know the word hypnosis. Hypnosis. So hypnosis is 2 words. The second part of hypnosis is science in the New Testament. because after all, it is a playbook. So when they say trust the science, we see what happened from 2020. They say trust the gnosis, but it's actually trust the hypnosis because that's what we all observed.
Yeah, that is very interesting. And it was in the time of Trump we did all those King James rituals in his way to the White House the first time. So I'm sure that's not an accident. Again, for people who forgot, the real King James died at age 58. And he was a Freemason and a Rosicrucian. And of course, in this letters and numbers code, Freemasonry and Rosicrucian equal 58, like secret society, like Solomon's Temple, where all of Freemasonry secrets are. And Trump announced from the 58-story Trump Tower for the 58th election. And there was a lot of 58 stuff. LeBron winning on the real King James's birthday, and then Trump having his convention there. Purple Rain equals 58. The death of Vanity, the day of the 58th Grammys, and then Prince's death days later. Prince had the song Black Donald Trump, and he died 201 days before the election was called for Trump. Kobe Bryant is another big 58, and Trump had a lot of rituals with helicopters before Kobe died in a helicopter in Trump's last year in office. And a number of other things. It just even in this election, he got 58% of the electoral college supposedly, and Kamala got 42%. But yeah, I think you're right on there with the science thing and how they use that. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I remember one of the scriptures is 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 20, and it says science falsely so called. So even the scriptures are saying that there's science, but then there's other things that people call science which aren't so good, but then the science is good. Because that's where you get the Gnostics from the Greek word gnosis. Because gnosis is fine, but when it's hypnosis, that's what happened to America. Because America is under hypnosis. You know, the MK Ultra, it wasn't just for those individuals that said that they were mind controlled and
no, it was for the nation. I've said the same thing a million times, and they got the nation under MK Ultra.
Yeah, exactly. And the name of my work, which I can call a method, because it's a method. Because I discovered the world through a method that I had to develop because I was studying law. I'm looking at history, and I'm looking at the English language, which is not even 500 years old officially. And I found that, whoa, people are under a spell because of the science of fiction. The science of fiction. Now, I'm going to say this and wait for your comment. When people go to, I want to start a business, you could be dog grooming. You could be, have on your farm, you want to be sell food or whatever from the farm. But when you go to the city, they make you sign an application for a fictitious business license. Why does it say fictitious? That's a point of inquiry where I'm like, whoa, they're calling it fictitious. Then you look at the overall system, we're dealing with fiat, they're playing with the markets. If people can't see that, then, you're Mr. Magoo. They're playing with the money. They're playing with everybody. Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, the last chapter. And this was published in 1979. I was born in 1978. So they said that they wanted the man to be P-whipped. Can I say the word? P-U-S-S-Y whipped. That was the goal of the planners at the time. And I'm sure they've come up with other programs after that. But I remember reading William Cooper's book, Behold a Pale Horse, and I was very depressed after that. This is the early 2000s when my cousin gave me a copy of that book, and then I read it, Behold a Pale Horse, and it has excerpts from Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. And that was one of the goals. So we see how men, a happy wife, happy life, that worked to the benefit of the people that are controlling us.
Yeah.
Because you're catering to that woman so much that you forget that to pay attention, to be a patriot.
Well, and just from my own
Because you-
experience, I mean, I can understand it just from my own experience. I mean, I think, all things are good and bad, but I do feel had I done this as a single man, I think this work would have gone a lot further. For people who forgot, I had to cancel my trip to Washington D.C. once upon a time over a sweet lady, and there's been a lot of things like that behind the scenes. And if I felt like there was greater support out there in the general public, I probably would have defied sweet lady a little bit. But there is something to happy wife, happy life too. But there is also something to men not fulfilling their full potential and doing everything that's in their own nature to satisfy the other half. So I'm very much guilty of that, and I understand exactly what you're saying right now. So.
Yeah. I'm also, I fell victim as well for a spell of time. And, we have to learn from our mistakes. And maybe mistakes, we can break it down in maybe a mistake. Like we're like maybe you're supposed to do something else, and we ended up doing this thing. And it all comes down to war, because the women and children are the spoils of war. When you get rid of all the men, the warriors, the wise men of a particular society, all that's left is the women and children. And then there's that whole buck breaking process that happens. And the goal of buck breaking is to program the woman to buck break her own children. You better follow the rules. You better do what they say. It's better to obey. And then that's quoting the scriptures. So that's part of what you discovered as being the playbook. So the playbook is definitely in effect. And that's why I wanted to highlight the word smart, because people say that word over and over again, but nobody knows what it means in Hebrew. And I don't say that lightly. I've taken 10 years. I'm all over the internet. I'm all over YouTube. I hear people say the word smart, but nobody knows what it means in Hebrew. And in light of Proverbs chapter 11, verse 15. Because, it might be in Old English. However, if you know how to read, then you know what's going on. And evil, or smart, means evil, bad, and punishment. Shoot, even in the 1500s, it meant a sharp, acute pain. I have a dictionary from the 20s that speaks about a smart bomb, which means a weapon delivered through radio and television waves. Smart.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I found you, Zach, because of the Lahaina fires, or the wildfires, whatever they say, with the blowtorch winds, all that nonsense. Like, I've never heard of that before. And I was so distraught about what was going on with those people in Lahaina, Maui, that I'm looking all over YouTube. And then I found you, because you were reporting on it, just like you have been for a decade. And I appreciate that. And I was able to, get an understanding. I'm like, oh, okay. I see what's going on. And this might be information that you put out about the U.S. Army being behind smart meters on people's houses. Smart meters.
I didn't put out that information, but it wouldn't surprise me. Pretty much everything that's done in this nation is militaristic and military policy. Something I covered when I first started was if you look into when television first launched, every single news anchor on TV was military educated.
Yeah. I'm military educated too. 1996 to 2005, U.S. Navy. I couldn't stand it anymore. And I grew up Muslim, but I never told the military that because I knew, that, it's like, okay, Americans don't like Muslims outwardly. Inwardly, yes, but outwardly, no. So on my dog tags, I didn't even put that I was Muslim. I said no religious preference because even at 17 years old, I had enough knowledge or insight to say, yeah, I'm probably not going to tell them I'm Muslim. But I'm not Muslim now. I'm kind of in between Islam and Taoism. But I love Jesus.
All right,
Yep.
friend. Well,
And I'll tell you.
go ahead.
No, I really warmed to the story of Jesus Christ more when I knew that he never existed. That's when I really picked up his message. And that may sound counterintuitive to some people, but it's the message, it's the teachings, it's the knowledge, it's the wisdom that you gain from this individual who I would say for the sake of our argument may have existed, may not have existed, but it's still the story of this individual and the way he interacted with other people. But I'll be honest, when I was like, wow, this guy never existed. That's when I accepted him.
Sure.
Yep.
Again, it's just like I say, I was raised Lutheran, and as a child, I believe, but by the time I was 12, I was highly doubtful of everything, and I was getting annoyed because all the adults that I would ask questions to would essentially punish me for asking questions. And that led me to the conclusion that these people were not authentic and something was absolutely wrong. And I was starting to think things were wrong probably even before 12 because I never liked communion as a child. I thought it was so weird to drink the blood and eat the body. I thought there is something wrong with this. Why are we drinking blood and eating body? But yeah, again, even though I essentially abandoned the faith, I still took what was good from the story. Most of the things about the Jesus story are commendable.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I totally agree. Because Jesus, at the end of the day, was the first conspiracy theorist that we know of, for at least, 2,000 years. But however, he wasn't outwardly a conspiracy theorist. He was never trying to overthrow Rome. He was never trying to overthrow the currency like he was accused of. He was just accused of doing things because he said, hey, look, it's just like if we did it today and said, hey, the money, like, hey, they say the United States is in $35 trillion worth of debt. And that means that all money is debt. So technically, we don't even have money. It's all fiat. However, we're able to trade. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, everything that's built around us is to control us. It's just one giant control system. And yeah, we get material things to keep us pacified and in line. So.
Yeah, and if we had enough attention of the people, then the Jews would be trying to bring us in front of Pontius Pilate, who is a Roman governor over Judea in the Bible. Right? We're just dealing with the Bible story. Yeah, Pontius Pilate was a Roman governor over Judea, and that goes over so many people's heads. They can't even recognize what's happening there. Even when one of the centuries or one of Pontius Pilate's guards, after he got the order, hey, over Jesus Christ's head, he's the king of the Jews. And then, like I said, his guard was like, wait, Pontius Pilate, you're the king of the Jews. And Pontius Pilate basically said, you heard what I told you to do. And it was left right there. Because Pontius Pilate he had enough wisdom to understand that the Jews at that time, they had prophecy. And Pontius Pilate knew, oh, this is the time. Let's do this. Let's put this guy up there. And then when you guys finally got over your corruption, here's something you could come to. That's why Jesus should be revered, remembered, and known, because that's our salvation, not as some holding, your head buried in the sand or holding your ankles, or it's not that. It's that we're literally in a system that requires us to do this, because our wise men were taken away, our elders, our teachers were killed off in genocides, similar to what's going on in Gaza right now. There's been so many scholars, that may have fled the country but killed, and journalists killed, all these people. And that's similar to what has happened in history. So we have an opportunity through these Zyle to see what has happened throughout history, how you can genocide a people. And you covered every day, Zach, how so-called Black people, we are also the product of genocide. And because there's a thing called paper genocide as well, where you have, well, I'll just say this, I'll just speak for myself. My parents' birth certificates say that they are colored. So how dare I call myself Black? I'm colored. I come from two colored parents. So why would I call myself Black? That's that paper genocide. Because before that, we were Indians. And before that, we were Jewish Indians. And that has to do with Pope Francis in 2015 in Bolivia, speaking in Spanish, saying that the Catholic Church is responsible for invading North, Central, and South America. So my question is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the FBA movement, the Foundation of Black Americans looking for reparations from the U.S. government.
I am aware of the FBA. Yeah.
Okay, when in actuality, the FBAs should go to Pope Francis' speech in 2015 when he was in Bolivia. The Roman Catholic Church is responsible. And His Majesty Pope Francis said, hey, we committed crimes against humanity by invading North, Central, and South America.
And everywhere
because
else.
we got these books. Yeah, I know. Excuse me for laughing. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. But yeah, exactly right. Yeah, you would love that speech. It was Bolivia, 2015. Pope Francis is speaking. It's in Spanish, so you have to find the one with the subtitles, the video with the subtitles. But in the middle of that, they make a full admission. Like, yeah. So the idea that FBA is petitioning the United States for reparations, it's a farce. They should actually go after the Holy Roman Catholic Church for reparations for slavery. Yeah, because it goes that far back.
You remember when Jesuit Georgetown baited the reparations thing? Do you recall?
No, no.
Here, hold on. I have an old post on it.
Georgetown. That makes sense.
Yeah, Georgetown,
Wow.
first Jesuit university in the nation. Let me find my old post on this. They said they're going to pay a great sum of money in the future, but didn't put a date on it.
Tricksters, right?
Oh, wow.
Man.
The post is gone on my old. See, they've taken off so many posts from my old site. There have been so many posts deleted, but I forget how they did it. There was a big fat 42 ritual when the news broke that they were going to pay reparations. You know what, though? So this is a more updated thing. So maybe they did pay 27 million more recently. Okay. It says in 2023 they gave 27 million to a foundation for reparations. Now 27 million compared to what's owed, it ain't nothing, but
Yeah.
look at this. On the day leaving 201 days left in the year, Georgetown has committed to raise 400,000 a year for reparations. There was a nice little 201 ritual by Georgetown. No, it was years ago because it was when I was using my old site. It says in June 19th on King James's birthday. On King James's birthday. In 1838, the Jesuits who founded Georgetown University sold 272 slaves, and now they pay 27 million.
Okay. Yeah, it's complex, but it's not. So many people are calling themselves Black and African American. That's why they can get away with it. It's subconscious. I've never said this before, but it's a subconscious hustle because we want to be together. People want to be together. We want to be able to identify with something. So many people are calling themselves Black, but never read the 1724 Black Christian slave codes. So many people call themselves Black, but they don't know about the Barbados slave codes of 1661, where there was a distinction made between Black and white slaves. But Black didn't actually stick until the 1970s, because Martin Luther King was saying Negro, Negro, Negro. The term Black didn't pop up until the 70s with all the Black exploitation movies, where you had a whole bunch of pimps, pimp movies, the Shafts movies, and then it was the whole push for Black, 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 Black. And that's a part of that genocide. And we know that it comes from the entertainment industry. These people are more likely in secret societies, and they're witches and sororities and fraternities, and they're just like, hey, I'm getting the money, so this is what you want me to do? Yeah, we're Black. Yeah, we're Black, because they're making money. They're going on cruises, taking flights. They got the money. It goes back to that 1710 Willie Lynch letter, where Willie Lynch described if you can put the slaves in the house against the slaves in the field, if you can put the light-skinned slaves against the dark slaves, if you can put the man against the woman, the children against the adults, you can rule these people for 1,000 years. And here we are from 1710. We're in 2025, and it's still cracking. Because people don't know they're in the house. But they can look and say, oh, well, I wouldn't live in that neighborhood because it's a low-income neighborhood. That's classism. And classism is synonymous with racism. Racism is a synonym for classism. That's what goes over everybody's heads. So people are perpetuating the class warfare that was given to us by the elites, like robots. They're just running the program. I wouldn't live in that neighborhood. Why? Because there's a bunch of poor people over there. And you're making 60, 70 grand a year. That ain't, I mean, it's good money, but at the end of the day, you ain't doing nothing. But you'll go live in another neighborhood, and that's that classism. That's the house slave against the field slave, 1710. It's still in effect. Shoot, just as much as Lyndon B. Johnson, where he was promoting the Great Society, and that was promoting white supremacy. And I believe that, I surmise, I don't want to say believe, I surmise that is where Donald Trump got his campaign platform from, about Make America Great Again. It was Make America the Great Society Again, where segregation was an option in the 1960s after JFK got knocked off. Yeah, it was the Great Society. And that's where Trump is coming from. And then when you look in the 1960s, you got 1966, the Satanic Church.
Indeed.
Right there in San Francisco.
Indeed. And they just did a big ritual with that in San Francisco with the basketball team. Steve Kerr just got his 666th win on Anton LaVey's 95th birthday anniversary. And again, when you spell out 666, it equals 95. Warriors also equals 95. Hey, friend, you got a lot of interesting information. We should just do a show sometime. I need to get off, though, because I have to go to sleep. I'm exhausted. And actually, it's a bad time to go to sleep because Sweet Girl's going to wake up any second. So I'll be up with her for the next 30 minutes to an hour before I can't sleep. But, people are
I
asking,
love
do you
it,
have
though. It's
social
a great
media?
feeling, man. That's good tired. That's good tired.
Can people find your work somewhere online?
Okay, you can look up David the Magic Negro Show, because I've been all over the YouTube streets, and right now I'm doing Dawood Ali, the South Sage podcaster. I know that's a lot, but Dawood Ali, the South, S-O-W.
Can you spell it? Can you spell it out for me? I'm going to write it down, and then I'll share it in the chat. Spell it?
Okay. Can I do the military phonetic alphabet?
That'll take longer
Like
to do
Delta.
it. I bet I can hear you just fine if you just spell it.
Okay, D-A-W-U-D space A-L-I space T-H-E space S-O-W space S-A-G-E space podcaster.
Okay, I got it here. And that's on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube. I haven't put up a lot of videos. A lot of my videos are old. I haven't posted a video for 2 years. Because my shit is too much, man. I realize how sensitive the algorithm is, and they got the AI, whatever, looking at things. And so I was like, okay, I have to restructure the way I do things because I'm real raw. You can even call me radical. But yeah, I haven't done videos, but I do have some things up, and I believe that, the things that I have up, people might find interesting because they'd be like, oh, the same guy, this is him during COVID. Okay.
I got your platform up on the screen. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. There's so many hurdles to talk about anything real on YouTube, but I would encourage you to keep doing it anyway, because that's what they want to tire us out and make us quit. And I got to tell you, every day I just think like, I don't even know why I'm doing this tomorrow. This is stupid at this point, but I just keep doing it anyway. So
yeah, no, man, keep doing it. We need to hear you, man. A voice of reason. We need the voice of reason. I'm speaking for people that I don't even know. I'm speaking for that guy in Texas who I think he may be living out of his car. He gave up on like the working. I remember that guy. I'm doing this for him. And so, yeah, I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm going to take your advice to heart. Thank you for giving me the time to speak. I really appreciate you, Zach. Thank you for doing what you're doing. I listen to you all the time, and this is just a gem. This is a highlight in my life to be able to speak to you, and can't wait to talk to you again.
Well, I would encourage you to get back to your show because it's obvious you're a very knowledgeable person and you're well spoken. And yeah, the world needs voices like yours. So, hey, thanks for being part of the show tonight. Appreciate it, man.
Okay, thank you, man. Shalom, shalom.
Yeah, same to you. Take care. All right. Jay with Open Eyes was trying to call in too. And he's staying up late on the East Coast. Jay, if you want to call back, if you're still out there, I'll take your call real quick. But I do need to crash, and I guarantee you Sweet Girl's going to start crying anytime because she always wakes up close to 11. It's 11 out here on the West Coast. Unless Jay went to bed. Maybe we didn't pick up, so Jay went to bed. I'll hang out a second to see if he's going to make the call. But if not, I think that'll be all. It does seem that this phone thing is consistently working though now. I just need to get my channel approved for live streaming and all that stuff. The new channel, the Count On It channel to get going on there. 772.
Hey Zach, what's up?
This isn't Jay. What's up?
Oh, hey, so I found, also, I wanted to announce tomorrow's going to be my last live stream I'm going to do on my channel if people want to call in. I doubt it'll crack 150 views, but I wanted to call in. You know that on the ADL, if you look at their hate symbols, there's a bunch of gematria there. Like, they say that there's like basically like these Nazi groups, these fringe Nazi groups that speak to each other with number codes. Like I can read one here. It says 12. The number 12 is a numeric symbol for Aryan Brotherhood groups, as are the numbers 1 and 2 separately, especially the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas. Substituting letters for numbers, 12 equals AAB, i.e. Aryan Brotherhood. And then
This is
13,
crazy. Like the whole website is numbers. All the hate symbols are numbers?
Yeah. Yep.
What? This is wild. Ugh. Who knew, man? It makes sense. 13 is a hate symbol. It makes sense, man. It's pretty much all everybody does in this nation. Just a bunch of haters. They only vote for one political party because they hate the other one even more. It's all making more and more sense by the day. 18. Okay. The 211 crew. Hilarious. Must be the Catholic Church with the Vatican's birthday. Okay. Interesting. Are you
Yeah. Also, what were you gonna say?
And I thought you hung up. Go ahead. 33 is a hate
Oh
symbol.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
38. 38. Go ahead.
I really like the new setup that you got. The different camera angle that you got. I love the side angle. I did the same thing on my new channel. Yeah, I would recommend doing it on the other side. I think because you can get the bookcase and the desk and stuff in the background.
Well, I might have to splurge and get another laptop with an NVIDIA card because I learned you can do something awesome in OBS with this certain NVIDIA card, and I thought, maybe that will create some eye candy that'll make more people check in. But I'm also worried that there's nothing I can do to make the views better. I'm worried that I really am locked into some kind of algorithm hell, and everything is just 2,000 views or worse.
Yeah, I'm rebranding, and I'm gonna shy away from this kind of content and just kind of like hide my true power level for however long I need to, and then if I become successful, then
Well, Harry, do
I can
that.
talk
Do
about
that.
whatever I want.
I'm gonna let somebody else get in here, but I appreciate your heads up on the numbers tonight, man. All right, take care, Sebastian.
All right, bye.
What's up, Jay?
Hello.
What's up, man?
Yeah, this is Jay. I just wanted to call in about not trying to take up too much of your time, but when you were talking about the environment and being early in the stream and all of the heavy metals and shit that are contaminating the environment, so I just wanted to call in and spread some awareness on. I've done it on my channel before, but it doesn't really reach that many people, so that's the only reason why a lot of times I'll call in to here or join the stream just to put more people on. But I honestly think that our world is so polluted that it's not even like, I don't know. I don't want to say diet doesn't matter, but like, I'm pretty sure people know those people that like had a good diet, still got sick or something. But especially in regards to like things like cancer, there are just a lot of things in our environment that are just being neglected. But I just wanted to give people like things or stuff to invest in to reduce the levels of contamination. Because I think that more importantly than food, I think that honestly the contaminants in our air and the contaminants in our water are more important, honestly, than the diet. But
I agree. The
it
world is
doesn't
toxic.
like get talked about.
What you're saying, so
Yeah,
something that
like-
happened today, you saying this reminds me of something that happened today that I'm a little bit annoyed about, and it just reminded me of the world that I live in, or that we all live in. I always take sweet girls out, or, a little girl out for a walk on the stroller. And today, while we were out, the wind picked up. It got real windy real fast, and there's a lot of dust out here because it's rural town and fields. And so it was, you could see the dust in the air, and I was like, oh, great, I got her out here, and I still got to walk like a quarter mile to get back to the house. So I hurried back and got her back to the house, but then it might still be going on. She's had this little nagging cough all night, and I was thinking, well, it's probably just dust got in her mouth. But then I started thinking about it more. I'm like, well, there's all these crazy farms out here and pesticides, and God knows what's in that wind, and it's just a little human being and just so fragile. But yeah, she's just had this nagging little cough all night. And I know it had to do with dust for sure, because that's never happened before. But it did just remind me of how toxic the world is.
And it's like I wanted to bring awareness to two important things that are very huge causes of cancer that are unrelated to diet or lifestyle choices. Is just literally completely unavoidable. And it's sad that we have to do all this extra work and spend our money on fucking water filters and air filters because the people who swear to protect us don't give a shit and allow anything to be in our fucking water supply. But number one is radon, and this is especially important in regards to lung cancer. I don't know. I think I mentioned this before, but this is years ago. I've been telling people about this shit for years, but people, it's like I never see doctors talk about it, and it's so frustrating because radon, R-A-D-O-N, if you look it up, is the leading cause of lung cancer in people that never smoke. So when people be like, "Oh, well, I never smoked before. I never did this, blah blah blah." Like, how did I end up with lung cancer? That's from radon. Radon is the most common cause of that shit, and it's the second leading cause of lung cancer death. And I never ever hear doctors talk about it. All these niggas say is, "Oh, don't smoke, don't do this, don't do," and I'm like, okay, but people are still getting this shit even when they don't smoke cigarettes. But the thing that's really terrifying about radon is that this shit, basically what happens is that it seeps up through cracks that are in the ground in your house, and basically you inhale it, but it breaks down into radioactive waste inside of your body, which was why it leads to cancer when you're just breathing that shit in all day. And people don't know about it. It's odorless. It's obviously you can't see it. So that's the problem with a lot of these things. And the other thing is the heavy metals that are in our water. Like our water is filled with so much shit. It's like it's insane. But if you don't know, I don't know if anybody knows about this, but I tell my subscribers the only water filter, like besides reverse osmosis, which is a little bit, it's a lot more expensive than the one I'm about to say. This one is a cheaper option. You just won't get like you won't be able to like put it. You won't. It's hard to explain. It's a cheaper option, but it only comes as a picture. So if the sad thing about it is that most contaminants is, and I'm stuttering a lot because I'm like you, I need to get some sleep. I just got off work and shit, and I can feel myself becoming retarded from the lack of sleep. So that's why I'm stumbling over my words a bit. But I just wanted to I've been wanting to, put people onto this, as many people as I can, because it really is something that needs to be talked about. But it's sad because our water supply the water filters that most people buy do not filter out anything significant. The refrigerator filters, the fucking average water pitcher, they don't filter out anything significant. Like arsenic, cadmium, lead, antibiotics, all these other different chemicals that I can't even remember the name of. They do not get filtered out by standard refrigerator filters or the filters that most people buy because they're affordable. And that's the sad part about it. People think, oh, I be having to tell my family this shit. They think, oh, well, the water is filtered. And I'm like, they don't understand. Like, if you get a fucking picture and the shit just instantly goes through the thing, the shit didn't get filtered. It takes time to filter out this shit. And most pictures and refrigerator filters, they don't have technology that's powerful enough to filter out that shit. So things like arsenic and especially the heavy metals, they can't get rid of them. But that is one of the leading causes of, like, if you look it up, that is one of the leading causes of cancer. Accumulation of heavy metals, high amounts of heavy metal accumulation, like arsenic, like cadmium, they will lead to cancer. When you are drinking water, even if you don't drink the tap water, you shower in it, you don't have a shower filter, which are harder to find than filters for drinking water. The water you wash your hands with, all of that shit is tap water. You are bombing yourself with heavy metals, all of those contaminants every single day. And that's why I say it's more important. The same thing with the air. You're breathing that shit in. The radon, you have to worry about the mattresses and the furniture the furniture, off-gassing chemicals like benzene and all of these other things that are linked to endocrine disruption and things like cancer. And it's fucked up because you can't smell or detect these things with just our five senses alone. And these companies don't tell us this. These mattress companies are not going to tell us that when you buy a mattress, it's best to leave it outside for several hours, if not the whole day, and heat, like in the summer, like preferably buy it during the summer so that the off-gassing process can start immediately, because heat causes the gases to come up off of the furniture immediately. But when you don't do that, then it just slowly off-gasses those chemicals inside your home, and you're just breathing in more of them. But if you leave it outside, it'll start the off-gassing process more immediately, and it'll get a lot of those chemicals into the air so that it's not just sitting inside your home. But these companies don't tell us this shit. Nobody tells us this shit. You have to look all this shit up. And then you finally do find this information out. We have to spend all this extra money just to make sure, just to do our best with this shit. And it gets, I don't know about you, I don't know about anybody else in the chat, but it infuriates me how toxic our environment is now. How many things that we can't detect our environment is contaminated with, and nobody is just doing anything about. And then when people get sick with a cancer and you try to bring this stuff up, nobody wants to fucking talk about it. I'm like, well, this is what's causing shit. This shit's not coming up out of nowhere. We have people in the U.S. have a 50% chance of developing cancer in their lifetime. That shit outraged people because it was not ever like this. It was not ever this common. People like it, and it's so crazy that we live in a time where people just don't care about how much they are being poisoned from literally every single aspect of their life. You need to breathe in order to survive. Obviously, you need to drink water in order to survive. So how the fuck are you? Can you be okay with those mechanisms being contaminated? But I know a lot of people might find a reverse osmosis too expensive. So I want people to look up Clearly Filtered. It's a company you can buy a water pitcher from. And this water pitcher is different because it costs like no more than $100, but it lasts for longer. It lasts for 4 months before you have to replace it. And it has reverse osmosis built into the filter. So it does filter out things like arsenic and cadmium and other heavy metals and other things like that. And what's nice about it is that if you go to the website, Clearly Filtered, it will literally show you how much of each contaminant it filters out. So if you go to the website, you go to the filter, and you click search contaminant, type in arsenic, it'll tell you, 98, 99%. So you know exactly what it's doing. That is a budget-friendly, way more budget-friendly option for, reverse osmosis water filters if you can't afford, the real, reverse osmosis sink filter. But I just like giving that information out because I know a lot of people don't be aware of shit like this. And I spend years of my life researching shit like this because it makes me sad how fucking bad like all this shit is. Like it's crazy. And then it's like, and people think that, you can't do anything about it because this person was eating healthy, but they don't understand it's so much more shit that we can't account for because we're getting attacked from all angles. They don't understand how toxified. They're not thinking about how toxified in the air and the water is, which are honestly the two most important things besides diet.
Absolutely. Big song when I was probably about a freshman in college was System of a Down, Toxicity. And
oh my god!
Again, that song wasn't
Oh
mine.
my god, bro! I saw something in the chat. I just want to respond to it. I see a lot of people say things like, well, I've been drinking tap water. I've been drinking this water, that water all my life and nothing's happened to me yet. Nigga, just because nothing has happened to you yet does not mean nothing is going to happen. People say this shit all the time. I was completely fine up until I found, up until, like I didn't notice my kidney stone until it became big enough for me to fucking feel the pain. Until then, I thought it was fine. I thought it was cool for me to eat over 100 grams of processed added sugar every day. It wasn't creating noticeable enough effects in me. You can't feel a fucking mass developing inside you until it becomes big enough to press up against organs and cause pain. That's why so many cancers get diagnosed at later stages, because it doesn't cause enough noticeable symptoms until later stages. So I'm not trying to wish bad on people, but my point is, just because you can't feel something happening to you yet, does not mean nothing is happening to you. You can't fucking perceive and notice the things that are happening inside your body on a biochemical level until they become great enough to affect you on a great enough scale for you to notice it. So I can't stand when people say that shit. Like, yeah, I'm just waiting for something to happen. The problem with our society too, we're too reactive and not proactive. Let me repeat that. We're too reactive and not proactive. We wait for something to happen before we acknowledge, okay, something's wrong. We wait for somebody to be diagnosed with cancer in order for us to look into this shit. We wait for the disease to happen instead of being proactive in making sure, okay, this is what causes it. Let's try to remove as much of this stuff out of our way as we can so that we mitigate the risk of developing something like this as much as we can. That's why we are in the position that we are in now. Fucking retarded.
Well, I saw the comment too.
Yeah, I just want to make that point.
The other thing is some of us are more fortunate to live in certain places than others. My mom's neighbor,
that too.
my mom's neighbor, his wife died last year after a 20-year cancer battle, and all of her siblings were dead. And one of her sisters died 2 months after getting cancer, but where they grew up was on the military base, Camp Lejeune. And for years, you've seen the class action lawsuit for Camp Lejeune. They were living on top of
That's the other thing
toxic,
too. That's the other thing too.
yeah, military experiment. And
And that's what fucking, bro. I'm sorry to keep cutting you off, but you reminded me of the man, what the fuck was her name? Barbara Kent. I don't know if you know who this woman is, but she's the only survivor of a cheerleading, not a cheer. It was some summer camp for like girls thing, but where they went to this summer camp and there was they were testing the Manhattan Project at this time. That's when they were doing the Manhattan Project, and that's when they were, testing out these atomic nuclear bombs. They were doing it in that area, and fuck. Long story short, when they detonated one of the bombs, the radioactive waste from the bombs, it mimics snow, and it's the same thing that happened with the Chernobyl project when the plant exploded. People thought it was snow, so they went. The group she was in went out and played in the quote unquote snow because it rained down in their area because it was close to where they were. So they heard a big boom. They saw snow. They went out and played in it. All of those girls died. Barbara Kent is the only one that did not die from cancer out of that entire group. But of course, it took the government decades to finally admit what the fuck happened. They're like, that's what I'm talking about. This shit pisses me the fuck off. When I tell people this is why the government is bad, because they do. This is why our system is bad, because we do. That's one of the main things. We send our soldiers over to burn pits. Then they they come back and get diagnosed with stomach cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, all these things. They inhaling all this toxic shit. We do experiments on next to where people are living. Then they become, that area becomes contaminated with all of this stuff, and the water, industrial spill off. We don't have any control of this shit. Nobody's telling us about this shit. But what happens when we start dying from cancer? They take their sweet ass time coming out about it. But then when they come out about it, what we gonna do? The most they do is give us some money. Money ain't gonna bring my loved one back. It's just a big oops, sorry. We contaminated your environment. We toxified your environment. This is why I would never join the military. This is why I would never be for any of these niggas as much as I can, because that's the shit that they do. And there's no justice for it. It pisses me the fuck off. Like, I'd be ready to go to war with this shit. Like, dead ass. And I'm sure you would too. But nobody else fucking cares. Motherfuckers think the government cares about them, and they don't care about you. Not when they have the military doing shit like that. People thought the Manhattan Project was a conspiracy theory when it was going on. Now we know that's something real, but when it was going on, if you would have told those people back then, the reason why all of y'all getting sick is because the government's probably doing something, testing something, where they're exposing y'all to some radioactive material. Niggas would have laughed at you. They would have called you a conspiracy theorist. You would have got laughed off. All the people start dying from cancer. Oh shit, what's going on? The government comes out, well, yeah, we were testing this and this and that. Oops, sorry, our bad. Niggas should be killed for shit like that. They should be firing squatted for shit like that. All of those people that take the lead of those things, they should be murdered. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, they should be executed in broad daylight. But we don't have that energy. We don't have that mentality because we're a fucking weak ass society. It's something really wrong with us. Why the fuck am I the only person that gets really upset about this shit in my family? It's crazy. But I'm done with the rant. That's all I wanted to get out. I just had to rant because I be seeing shit like this, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, this shit is crazy to me, bro.
It is crazy, Jay. It's because they're under a spell, man. MK Ultra is a real thing, and we're immune to it. Most people aren't. It is sad though, and it is frustrating. Here's what I'll leave you with though, Jay. Even though you're right about everything, remember the first rule of hermeticism is all is mental, and the mental is important. So even though the world is toxic and we're up against all kinds of obstacles, you got to stay as positive as possible anyway. And there is something to it because like even Sweet Lady got sick recently, and normally when she gets sick, I get sick, but I just kept telling myself, I'm not going to get sick. We can't both get sick with the little one. I'm not going to get the little one sick. And somehow, some way, lack of sleep and everything, somehow I didn't catch what she had. She got over it after a few days. It ended up not being as bad as it seemed at first because it seemed like she had flu for a second. But there is something definitely to the mental too. So this, trust me,
Yeah, I agree.
you're like, it's a long road, Jay, because I felt just like you when you were your age, and that was 20 some years ago for me now. So
I admit I always I've always had a problem with feeding more into the negative side. I'm not a positive person. Like I'm always just more of like a realist. But like I'm always like I always tend to focus more on the negative. But like not in like a I just want to be negative. But it's like it's like I just had this mentality where it's like we can't be good if certain shit like that is happening. Like I can't go to sleep at night peacefully knowing that our world is just being just poisoned and destroyed like this. It's like I cannot justify myself at this point in time, even though I really want to have, a family. I can't justify bringing a kid into this world knowing all the shit that they're up against. And people think that we live in a greater time than before because things are easier. No, we live in the worst time, in my opinion, because things may be easier at a cost. And understand all of these gadgets that we have, they're at the expense of the labor of other people in third world countries making this shit for us. They're at the expense of wars that were instigated so that they could, and people were killed so that they could get all of these materials in the first fucking place. So it's the worst because even the nice things that we have is built off of evil and wickedness. It's all of it is just, and it's like I'm that type of person where it's like I cannot walk out, like I can't walk around be saying everything. So it's like I understand that I feel more to the negative side because like I'm just not that person that can just walk around. That's why I always want to change the world. I'm just not that person that can just walk around like everything's okay when I know what the fuck is going on. So it's like I wish that I was, a more positive person. I wish that I was a person that didn't let myself get worked up about shit. So I understand like what you're saying. Like I get it. That's a flaw of my character is that I always lean towards the darker side. I always lean towards the negative, more wrathful side of things.
Well, you'll work on it as you get older, but also the point I'm just making, in case I'm not being understood, is radon is toxic and it does make a lot of us sick.
Yeah.
But if your mental is, I'm gonna overcome it,
yeah,
you're more likely to not get cancer from it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, like it's definitely good to have a good, because I still have that like strong mental, like I don't have like that defeatist mentality to where it's like I still have that strong like mental where it's like I'm gonna do as much as I can. I'm gonna accomplish do as much as I can about this shit. So I'm not gonna just be completely like just give up or nothing like that. But no, I still have like that strong, I guess you could say warrior mentality about this shit. So yeah, I
Indy. Well, we both need some rest, Jay, but it's always good to hear from you. Stay strong. I appreciate you. Other people appreciate you. And just stay on the path, man. The world's messed up, but the world's got no hope if there's not people like you.
And I just want to give the last thing. This is what my comic is gonna be based on. Like this is gonna be. It might not seem like it at first, but that's gonna be like the like how we're like what's going on. Like that's gonna be like the theme of like what triggers the conflict in my comic. Like that's gonna be the message, like the theme. that's what it's going to be about.
Well, I look forward to it. Appreciate it, Jay.
All right.
All right, man. You have a good night. And we have somebody calling from Arkansas who really wants to get in. Arkansas, I need to go to bed, but since you're calling over and over, it must be important. So call back, Arkansas. Jay's off the line. By the way, can you guys hear the beeping on the if somebody's on the line, it beeps to let you know somebody else is calling on the other line. Can you guys hear that beeping? Is that coming through too? Is that also coming through? 870 870.
Oh, sorry, bro. I know you gotta get some sleep. I know. Sorry. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay. So, did you see the shooting the other day in Dallas? Like, really, like yesterday?
There was a shooting in Dallas.
Yes. My buddy. Well, all right. I'll give you to kind of go to bed. My buddy told me, like, he said there was 4 people who got injured, and in the article they said there was 19 police cars that were there. And I've been watching a little bit, so I feel like I know 4 is a lot in death, and
Always
19
man.
with the
That's why I just
cycle
laughing.
stuff.
I just hate how it's always just the same. At least 4 shots. Because that's the stat for a
Exactly.
mass shooting. So that they can throw it in for their mass shooting figures. It has to be at least 4.
Yeah, 4 and 19, and I was just like, "Wow, are you kidding me?" I told my buddy of mine, I was just like, "Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Hutchinson High School." And I was like, I was trying to do the Gematria on it because I'm not as good as you, but I was trying to find some stuff, and I was just like, "I'm gonna give it to the master because I feel like you could probably see where it's at because there's definitely something to it, you know."
Did this happen on Tuesday?
But 4 and 19.
Did this happen on Tuesday?
Tuesday, I know. Yep, it does happen.
Tuesday or Wednesday?
I think it happened on Tuesday, I think. But it's just like 4 and 19. They had the article, had to let you know there was 19 police vehicles there. That's what the article said. There was 19 police vehicles. Like, wow. But my buddy of mine who saw it, he said he watched the video. You couldn't see anything there. It's like, damn, you never see some footage of what happened. It's just like, you just got to take the word for it, you know?
Yeah.
Another shooting, you know? Crazy. And I've been following for a while, so that's what I'm saying. It's just like, when I see
the
this.
school is. The school's 97 years old. We keep seeing that this year. 97, the 25th prime.
Like I said, I've been following you a while. And when you see these patterns, it's just like kind of like, wow, you know? It's redundant, you know? It's
Wilmer
crazy.
Hutchins High School, 119 like Fraternal Order of Police, 133 like government. The 119's omnipresent in these mass shootings. Again, that's for people who don't know, Fraternal Order of Police again is 119, Masonic Order, and their logo is the all-seeing eye. Well, it's part of their logo, it's the all-seeing eye, which is a Masonic concept. Another 119. Yeah, they
Exactly. I feel like that's it's crazy, but it is what it is, you know. I just wanted to call in tonight. I was like, I gotta get his ass. So I was like, he always talk about 4 and death. Is that like the Chinese thing, or what's the 4 and death? Like that's the Chinese
in
thing,
Japanese
or what?
and in Mandarin Chinese, the number 4 is pronounced the
Japanese.
same way as
Okay.
death.
Yeah. So it's crazy because you see these things happen over and over. It's crazy, you know. But this one, when my buddy threw me this one here, I said I gotta send it to my boy Zach. I said I'm saying to him like, look.
It also
people
happened
don't
on the
care,
anniversary of Lincoln's death in Dallas.
Oh,
You think Lincoln,
wow.
you think of JFK, the 2 probably most famous presidential
JFK,
assassinations. So there's probably something to that as well.
Exactly. There's probably more to this story than you know. But yeah, I know you're probably tired. I don't want to give you too much time, but I just wanted to kind of throw you by that. When I saw that, I said a 419. I'm like, wow, you know. I was like, hey, can you look into that a little bit? Because I'm pretty sure if you dig into it, there's probably more to it. This is Gematria, guarantee it. You know.
Yeah, indeed. All right, well, I'll look more into it when I get a chance, but
Okay.
appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great night. I appreciate your time. Okay. Have a great night. Thank you.
And somebody else who's been calling in is from Houston. Houston, you're the only other person who's been calling in during the show. If you want to call in, Houston, that's going to be it, though. I really do need to go to bed. I'm surprised I haven't heard Well, I do have headphones on if somehow I didn't hear a sweet girl crying in the background. But that's the one, these headphones were supposed to be more comfortable than they are, but the one thing that is good about them is they don't like block out all the noise. They're not noise canceling, which I don't want now that I got a little one around. I got to be able to hear what's going on. Houston, if you're out there, you can phone it in or you can save it for later. For everybody else, thank you for hitting the like and the share. Thank you for supporting the work. Shout out to the super chatters. Eloy sent in $2, said, love the new setup, man, and new updated logo. Appreciate that. It's the bird body. Can't speak from the chest. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Real talk. Indeed. Yeah, indeed. Talking about, what's that kid's name? Parker. Shout out to Nathan, aka Disambiguation, and shout out to Rick James, the usual suspects. Yeah, I thought the calls were good tonight. When I start the podcast, I hope that we get that kind of call quality just like that. Well, I have been wearing a hat a lot lately, but historically, I didn't really wear a hat. I've been in a hat mode. Yeah, sweet lady showed me this meme online that said behind every well-kept child is a feral mother, and it shows like a beautiful baby, and then the mom's looking all wild. I feel like the same thing could be said for the stay-at-home dad. So the cap is easy. All right, Houston's not phoning back in, so we'll leave it there for now. And just so you guys understand, man, I am always tired because this is, for anyone who's never had a child before, having a little one is, man, it takes a toll on your sleep. And I think our girl is very good and she's just always smiley and happy, but she does not sleep at night. She sleeps like 1 to 2 hours at a time. A lot of nights she just wants to be up and held and rocked around. And it's just like, my God, when are you going to start sleeping through the night? Make it happen. So anyway. All right, here's Houston. We'll take this one last call and then we'll wrap it up. All right, Houston, you're the last call. What's up?
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, this is Zach, right?
This is him.
Yeah. What's up? I've been watching you for a little while. I just got something quick. When you type in COVID AI in the calculator instead of 19, because one is A and
Sure.
I is 9.
Sure.
Yeah, when you type in COVID AI, there's a lot of interesting. It's like 126, 6336, and I know 126 today, like Kobe died, and then satanic is 308, kind of like 38. I don't know. I just felt like after COVID, the AI push happened a lot more. So I don't know. I felt
Well, I was gonna say, yeah,
interested to put that in,
exactly.
and I just
They started using a lot more AI and big tech and surveillance and all that. So yeah, I think there probably is something to that, and I get the logical replacement of 1 and 9 with A and I, because yeah, A is the first letter, and I is the ninth. So yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, I just wanted to swing that by you.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, have a good night. I know you gotta go to sleep. Yeah.
Indeed.
All
right. Thank you. You take care. All right, we also got Unknown trying to get in here. What do you guys think? Should we take Unknown? Got to be a troll. Hold on, Unknown. All right. What would be a podcast without a troll? What's up, Unknown?
Hello? Yeah, I was gonna say, one thing real quick. You know how Trump has 88, 25, 47, and 29?
Uh-huh.
The 88, I know you guys covered the 88 a bunch of times. I just had to decode this for myself, but I know that The 25 is symbolic for, you know, he took office officially in 25. 47, we know about 47, the political attack that has with that number specifically. But the 29 is when he actually officially leaves office.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Inauguration days of the 29.
Yeah.
So that's why I try to connect that. I think that makes kind of some sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great point.
All right, that's all, man. Hey, get some sleep, man. You know, great job, man. Great call, great stream, man. Wish you nothing but the best. Thank you for everything you do.
All right. All right. Take care. See you, man.
All right.
All right. It wasn't a troll, but he did call in from unknown. Usually that's what the trolls do. Sometimes the trolls humor me, but all right. Yeah, I'm going to bed, you guys. At least I'm going to try to. Probably right when I fall asleep. Is probably right when she'll wake up. So, all right. Yeah, for all you youngins, man. Jay's call just reminded me of this song. What year did this song come out? I want to say it was my freshman year of college. Hold on, I just got to see for my own amusement. System of a Down, Toxicity. Let's see. Let's say the release date was for the song. 2001, yeah. Look at that. 7 days before 9/11, man. So I remember it just being big in my freshman year of college. Ooh, man. 7 days before 9/11 that song came out. Can't be an accident. That can't be an accident. Things got extra toxic after that. All right, you guys, have a good rest of your night. And until next time.